Hello, welcome. I'm going to look at some old Play-Doh sets. So I'm basically going to be playing with Play-Doh just to show a bunch of old molds from a Cowboy set and a Strawberry Shortcake set. First, let me just give a little brief overview of Play-Doh, even though everyone should know what it is, I would think. But I like to do a little history when I show a product for the first time, and there will be a blog entry, of course, a link in the video description, which has a bit more information and scans of this booklet, which is actually from 1987, which is newer than what I'm going to be showing, but I couldn't find any older booklets. This is the only one I seem to have, and the page is all kind of unstuck, so it's falling apart. But actually, I did find a scrap of this scrap from a old booklet from the 70s, I believe, because the Cowboy set was originally released in 1975. I'm sure it was sold for many years after that. Surprisingly, the little scrap here does have the Cowboy set on it, so that's the packaging. I don't own any of the packaging or paperwork from these sets, just the sets themselves, and my Cowboy set is missing the mat, so unfortunately I can't show you that. But I will flip through this booklet, which has a lot of licensed products and some of the well-known things like the Fun Factory. So this booklet says it started in 1955. The article I read online was using to put together the blog entry said 1956, so about the same time period. I would think the booklet knows best, but who knows? Because this is Kenner, which isn't the original maker of Play-Doh. It was made by a company called Krutal. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Products. Just founded in 1912. It made wallpaper cleaner, which is what Play-Doh is, or started as. It's the same product, basically. But when coal heating was removed from homes or replaced, there wasn't much need to clean wallpaper. There wasn't soot on the walls. So the company was having, kind of a problem. That was their one product, so it wasn't making income. So they managed to come up with the idea to make it a children's toy. So it launched in the 50s, and it was only available in white at the time. The colors came later, and a decade later, General Mills purchased the company, which at that point, they were selling Play-Doh under the subsidiary name of Rainbow Crafts Company, which General Mills acquired, and then General Mills acquired Kenner a couple years later, so Play-Doh became a Kenner product, and today it's owned by Hasbro, because Hasbro acquired Tonka, which owned Kenner. A lot of companies changing hands. So let me just flip through this booklet. Now in plastic cans. So this booklet, at least from 1987, the plastic cans started though in at least 1984. Because what I have here, this is a 1984 can, which is all plastic. This one here is older. This is a 1981 can, which is not plastic. Only the lid is plastic. So the base is metal, and this is, it's like a cardboard, paperboard. So it's not the most, like, it's the word I'm stumbling here. It's not the most tight seal, I guess you could say. And what happened over time, though, is this bottom got oxidized or rusted. So it's like eating through. There's a hole in the canister. There's no Play-Doh in it now. And you can see the plastic, this just has a sticker. This is all artwork, but this is a couple stickers on the plastic. The main difference, it doesn't have all the text either. I guess it's all just stuck in the Kenner sticker, but I was going to show like a newer canister too. That's what I was going to say. The difference today, as you can probably easily see, is this dude's missing. He was the mascot from 1960 on until about 20 years ago. Hasbro phased him out. He's called Play-Doh Pete. Just a little kid with a beret. But he's no more. So yeah, this is a newer Play-Doh. It doesn't have a year on the canister. But, well, and I recently got them for free from a friend, a bunch of these. That's why I'm making the video. I have some newer Play-Doh to use. Though I do have some 1984. This one's empty, but I have some colors still from 84. As long as the canister remains sealed, the Play-Doh lasts. It's just, And if it gets a little hard, you can run it under warm water and it softens it back up. But some of it goes bad. I mean, I have a yellow canister that's kind of turned brown and has salt crystals on it because it has a lot of salt in it. In any case, the canister shrunk, but they still have a lot of Play-Doh in them. Like, this wasn't wall to wall, like side to side Play-Doh. It's like a cylinder just dropped in there. So they shrunk the canisters. There's still plenty of Play-Doh in them. I said, I just don't know how old this is. I'd guess within the last 5 years. Alright, the booklet. So I was just showing you could get a 4-pack of Play-Doh. Then this shows some of the licensed sets. Real Ghostbusters and Silverhawks. Strawberry Shortcake is the only licensed set I think we ever had, my sister and I. And these 2 sets are all I have in my possession. I don't know if we have any more in my parents' house. My sister, I don't think has any of this stuff, but one thing we never had was Star Wars sets, surprisingly, because I have so much Star Wars stuff. But there were a few Star Wars sets, because of course Kenner had the Star Wars license. Some various gadgets to make shapes. The Fun Factory, probably the best known set. Quite certain I did have one of those. Mop Top Hair Shop, that was around a long time too, another popular set. Another licensed set, Mask, just another action figure toy line from Kenner. And a rainbow pack of colors. Some pictures. So yeah, there were a bunch of licensed sets. Sesame Street, Yogi Bear, Flintstones. Alright, so I'm going to start with the Cowboy Set. I don't have the mat for that, but I do have another mat. I don't know what it came with. Probably just Play-Doh. Maybe it came in like a pack of Play-Doh. It's just Play-Doh Pete. Bunch of kids like looking at a stage. Just gonna turn it sideways for working on it here. Not that you necessarily need it. I mean, Play-Doh drops little bits, but they clean up fairly easily. Alright, so let me grab the first 3 molds. The Cowboy Set, fairly large. Comes with 6 molds, a wagon, some tools, and of course a mat that I don't have. First released, I believe I said, in 1975 from that, I saw that booklet. I looked up the packaging online. People are selling it on eBay, so I was able to read the packaging. It also came with one of these, which you probably just call a knife, but at the time, in the 70s, it was being called a trimmer, and later a trim knife. It's shaped like a knife. Just kind of like trim around these or something else just to get some excess Play-Doh off. And it comes with a roller. That's what they call it, like a rolling pin. Like you'd use to flatten dough, but it's used to flatten Play-Doh. Don't really have any use for it now. Alright, let me grab a color here. Which color shall we use? This is like a turquoise. You don't really have, there is white, but most of them, are just bright colors, especially these newer ones. Red, yellow, there's no brown. Of course I have my discolored yellow that looks brown. It's kind of hard to get all this out though in these smaller containers. It's the one thing I think with the bigger containers, you can get your fingers down the side. Here you just gotta push them through the Play-Doh. You could try to color like the clothes and shoes different by putting, little bits, but I'm just gonna make everything the same color. Obviously it saves time. So I have here is a cowboy, Native American, and a female character. You can see how their legs are. They're meant to sit on a horse, which is another mold, whereas she just stands in place. They have some good detail on them if you can, pull it out good without ripping it. I don't know if they make molds like this still. I mean, I haven't actually used any new Play-Doh sets, you know, beyond the 80s. I was at the store a few years ago. I was looking at the Play-Doh for my nephew, and all they had were like these big sets, like a dentist, kitchen. It wasn't anything like these, like a bunch of molds to create characters. So I don't know if they just don't make them anymore. Just the store I was at didn't have them. I mean, we don't have like really have toy stores anymore. It's just departments inside other stores. That came out pretty good. You can see the details maybe. I don't know how well they come across on camera. Let me just refocus to make sure, you know, before I had it on the paper, which is flatter, to see sure it's the right distance. So it actually pushes through. There's like, the noses have these little holes, I guess to make it longer, to get like elevated. So the nose does stick out a little. It came out pretty good. Just gonna keep using the same color a little bit. You see, I don't know if you see it all squirt through the nose hole there. They work quite well. I mean, there's really nothing to complain about. It comes out good. It's not difficult to use. Well, that nose didn't break. Gosh, looks like Pinocchio there. It's meant to like kind of pull off at a point. There's some excess though. You could use the trimmer, but it peels off. So, you know, this guy, this here, the detail, it doesn't make sense to me, but it looks like it's an owl. Like, is an owl sitting on his shoulder? It seems kind of odd, but that's what it looks like. On the back he has a quiver with arrows. Originally I thought that was the quiver sticking out until I made the mold yesterday, or made him in the mold. In my first attempt at the video is my second shooting of it. And I was like, wow, that's an owl, I think. It just, I don't know why they would choose an owl to sit on a Native American's shoulder, but I don't know if owls are really hanging out with people. Not that it needs to be realistic, it's just a children's toy. Just see if I can get a little more out of here. Like maybe you'd think a bald eagle or something, but it's just, it looks like a tiny owl to me. Like the G.I. Joe Native American character Spirit comes with his eagle freedom. Got a little excess there. Alright, so those are the people. Switch to another color for the others. Alright, here's a fence post, cowboy hat and a cactus, and a horse. I'll try to make, let's see if I can make a white horse. Sort of makes sense here, but it's the white, it's more of a way off white right now. This is one of the old 1984 Play-Dohs. still hadn't even used all of it. You can see it's still in the original shape. Not sure if I need any of that. Let's see. Yeah, with this I did run it under warm water. The colors do run when you do that. Yeah, this just isn't very white anymore. Just not sure if I have enough here to make both sides. It mirrors itself on each side for this, for the horse. Pretty much for all these last three molds, they're all pretty sure just identical, except the hat has a top and a bottom. Tail doesn't really stick out at all, it's just kind of there. Yeah, I think I was a little short of Play-Doh there. You can see its face didn't come through. I use the trimmer try to cut. It's kind of, well, I didn't really soften this part, but let me see if I can get enough here. Just the right can. Let me make another attempt here at the horse. Though you could probably leave them in the air. Just add some more on this side. I don't know if that'll work well, but let's see. It's just his head really that didn't work. If you buy these online, they're fairly inexpensive. If you want to get old Play-Doh sets, as long as they're not mint in box, you probably get them for under 20. Alright, it's looking pretty good. Yep. Alright, make the fence post next. Let's see. It's kind of a bright yellow. Probably enough for all this stuff. Let's see. So you could obviously make a lot of one shape, like a lot of cacti or a bunch of fences to create a big scene, put a horse in the corral. The mat I don't have is like obviously a Wild West type picture with a wagon that has a Play-Doh Pete sitting in it. And there's a teepee, and cacti. It's the big Western picture. Make sure you get the excess off the bottom here, it won't stand properly. Some more on the edges here. So just lay it down so you can see it. Alright, make the hat and the cactus. I actually need a little bit more, not sure. These are on the smaller side, I guess. Out of all these molds, cactus is probably my favorite. No, it's just a plant, but I lived in Arizona for a while, so I do like cacti. The hat excess is a little messier to take off. It actually helped to use this to get in between the different arms. There's still some weight on here. Yeah, I gotta really cut out some of the excess here. Alright, so that's the whole west. Oh wait, nope, the wagon. It's all the molds for the western set, but let me just put together a little scene and put them on the horse. So he wears the hat. I would guess he's the cowboy. Here's the horse he fits right on. Sometimes I don't balance completely well. The hat's a little heavy and it can make him tip over. Let me just take him off here for the wagon. It's just a little plastic wagon. Of course, they aren't meant to like sit really. I mean, she can stand kind of level with the seat here, and then the horse goes there. It's a little bent, but you can jam these into the horse to kind of connect it. But the plastic's, you know, kind of bent outward. I think it's supposed to be holding this position more or less. Kind of stick it in there. Well, it's too high up because the wagon won't sit straight. There. It won't sit flat, I mean, so I'll add some weight. Maybe it will. Yeah, put the cactus in back. Alright, there you go. And there they fall out. Alright, so that's the wild, well, called Cowboy Set. I want to call it the Wild West set. Let's move these out of the way. We'll move on to Strawberry Shortcake. Oh, that'll be in frame a bit, that's okay. So we got Big Apple City. So this is actually not the first Play-Doh Strawberry Shortcake set. There is another one. They're, of course, similar in that they have the same license. And Strawberry Shortcake, from what I could tell, is in both sets. You'd think they would have replaced her in set 2 with someone else. There are a lot of characters, but I'm pretty sure that's her here, and I think this is Lemon Meringue. I'm not an expert on this, but I was looking at pictures online to kind of figure out who's who. And I think that's her. I mean, they all have kind of big hats, but I think that's Strawberry Shortcake. I'm going to try using the original, well, the 1984 red on this one, which I already did when I first made the video, so actually here they are, but I'll try to smash them in there again. I didn't have to crush them to put them in there. This one only comes with 2 molds. This is 1982, and I think the other set's 1981. To get a lot of excess kind of stuck in here. see. Of course, I just showed you them out of the container. I'm not going to really look any different. Which one is this? I think this is lemon meringue. I really don't know though. I think this is strawberry shortcake. Yeah, nobody else really has the hat that looks like that, even though they do have, like I said, similar big hats, but just don't know for certain. These are different color on the others. This bright orange. It doesn't just fall out. I want to just dump it out. That doesn't work. The other mold right here has the villain and a smaller character that I think is Apricot, simply because she has a rabbit friend, and there's a rabbit here who is named Hopsalot. Now the villain has a very long name if you were to, go by his full name. And on the piece of paper, it fell on the ground. I had to write this down because I was not going to remember it. I mean, I would think he's probably just shortened to Purple Pie Man, but the full name is the Peculiar Purple Pie Man of Porcupine Peak. It's just quite a mouthful. He's kind of the bad guy, because every toy line or cartoon needs some sort of antagonist. You can tell he's quite tall. And these are a little bit harder to remove. They're thinner, I guess. They're not as thick, so they don't hold the shape as easily when you yank them out. These look okay, a little excess. And hops a lot. And this guy's really delicate. He's stuck in there pretty good. There you go. Yeah, he's a little reminiscent of Waluigi, if you're a Nintendo fan. He's kind of got that tall, skinny look with a big chin and a kind of evil mustache, I think. Well, he wears like a baker's hat. Alright, there's one more part to this set. This one didn't come up quite as well. I can't even see her face. Let me redo her a bit. I think I'm missing I don't know, the Play-Doh didn't go all the way down into her. Her face mold or something. Let's see if that worked out better. Have a second rabbit here. Yeah, I guess she just has a soft face. It's not as detailed as these others. Yeah, there's a second rabbit. I found somebody, probably my sister, made a lot of rabbits and they were in a separate container, so they're never crushed back. There's more than 30 rabbits, but they're kind of old and didn't stay dry, like they got hard and discolored, so they don't look so great. So this is the last piece of the set, which is a butterfly, and Kenner calls it a vehicle. I guess like the Cowboy Set has the wagon, this has this, and the first Strawberry Shortcake set has a ladybug vehicle. Here, let me just stick her in and see if I can squeeze the rabbits in. Everybody's going for a ride. And that's it. That's both sets. Alright. So like I said, you can check out the blog entry to get a closer look at these. Although I don't know if I'll use photos of these or the first photos I took, which may be some different colors. And there'll be scans of the paperwork. And that's about it. So thanks for watching.